Welcome to the Smart Factory.
Douglas, welcome to Smart Factory Learn with us.
Good morning, Morten. How are we doing?
I think we're doing pretty good. I mean, aren't you impressed with the fantastic intros and rock music from the morning? Or what do you think about that?
Well, I was impressed, but I thought I got my dance all ready to do a little bit of contemporary moves. But I guess we'll stick with the video this morning, shall we?
Yeah, I was just about to say that if you have been dancing around, you're in considerably better shape than I am. So that's great. So before we get started with your presentations, tell me a little bit about Infigo. What does it mean, and what do you do?
Well, Infigo number one sort of mantra really is all about adding value to our clients. If we don't add value, we need to get out of the picture. So that's our number one sort of ethos that we very heavily believe and push throughout the business. And that also filters down to our employees. If we add value to employees, they want to work with us, they want to do a great job for our clients, and everybody's happy. So that's what our business believes. What we do is we provide storefront solutions, web to print, web to pack, whatever you want to call it. There's so many names these days I've forgotten. But essentially a portal, an interface for customers to order and streamline their processes. So that's really what we are about.
So one of the things that, as you may have seen, the agenda for this week is talking about the smart factory and Industry 4.0. Is that words that also gets all the lunch table at Infigo Software?
I tell you what, that I had two stances for our discussions this morning, and I actually changed it up a little bit, which we'll see. I think 100% we got to be smarter. We had a chat probably about just over a month ago, 6 weeks ago, and we have no other option than to be smarter. We have to be smarter in buying things, we have to be smarter in dealing with the clients, and we have to make better decisions. That's what we've got to do. So I think the smart factory is more than just technology, and that's one of the things I want to touch on a little bit today. And absolutely, we are evolving at a pace that we're all going to struggle a little bit to cope with. So yeah, 100%. And now is the time for an evolution. And I think we're seeing some positive things of what really print really stands for. I was reading in your information about what you believe the smart factory is, and it comes down to what I was saying earlier about the value add. It's not about the price reduction. We're seeing some impacts of some of the people that provide a very transient service because they disappear very quickly. And that's the difference. You can't just provide a transient, you've got to add value and provide something sticky. So now's the time to be smart.
But I can't help, I agree with you, but I can't help think about that yesterday I had a conversation with Kylene Lloyd from South Africa. She's been in the middle of implementing both web to print and also online personalization software, and we spoke about the implications of how that actually influences the production workflow. All the you better know than me that all the things that are and then you say storefront, but is that you can't really isolate it, right? I mean, you have to think about how you also get from what the customer experience to how it is getting produced, right? I mean, you cannot.
Absolutely, that'd be a great topic of discussion today, wouldn't it? No, 100%, and I'll go on to share some of that. But in the what the world I live in, which is classed as software as a service, our whole thing, and being a sales guy for many years, Xerox, EFI, and many others. I was always managed on my funnel. So the way that I see it is we have to create this funnel that's very clear. And I look at that funnel of how we deal with our customers. And web to print as a part of that. So I think it's a window, it's a gateway. It can provide APIs and things like that. but it's not just part of the process. And I think certainly when I've been involved in the last couple of years in some of the bigger installations and even some of the smaller guys, is there's a lack of clarity on how businesses interface with their customer. I want to bring on a new customer. How do I do that? And that's one of the things that I want to touch on a little bit today, because that I think is quite, it doesn't matter whether the business is 2 million, 5 million, 50 million, 300 million, or a billion turnover, like some of the Goliaths we're seeing growing today. It's how do I interface with my customer? How do I interface with my business, so both externally and internally? And how do I manage their interactions? And I think that's so important.
I can't help thinking about, because I just saw that Nick, and I apologize, Nick, if I don't pronounce your name or surname right, Gavreluk from Heidelberg he posted yesterday on LinkedIn a very funny cartoon. Did you see that, by the way?
No.
It was it was like who is freed from memory. It was like, who is actually the responsible for the digital transformation? Is the CEO or the CTO, or it's the COVID-19, right?
Yeah.
And as we spoke about just before, and I also know from some of your colleagues and competitors in the market, the COVID-19 has not been extremely bad for the web to print guys, right? But that raises the question that you also now talk about, is that if we bring new customers on board, is it just because of the promises and belief we have that we have to be online also in the second wave and the third wave, and who knows what comes after? Or is it also because we have started to look into new ways of actually interacting with other people?
Yeah. So what one thing, like everybody wanted to be, God, I've been doing this forever, 20 years. And everybody, if I had a buck for everybody, or a euro, or a whatever we are, a pound, some yen, everybody wanted to be a Vistaprint. That was it. Doug, I want to be the Vistaprint. Doug, make me the Vistaprint. And then it was, oh, I want to be the Hello Print. Then it was, oh, I want to be this and I want to be that. And I think we get too lost in what we want to be in, and it sometimes bringing it back about why we want to do it and why it's important. And I think that's the bit that we really need to. We need to get back to our bloody customer. They're the important thing, not how we interact, not what interface, not what website, how does our customer want to be treated? How can we make them feel special? And there's a thing that I'll mention it. There's a great quote. I don't know if you've heard of Harry Selfridge, that created the Selfridge Group, which is a huge thing in London and stuff. Yeah, and one of his quotes was, "Excite the mind, and the hand will reach for the pocket." And I think what we've done is we've reversed that process. We're trying to excite the pocket and trying to use that to stimulate the mind, and we've moved away from this thing. And we've seen quite clearly that it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Yeah. So that's something that, like part of my session, and I'm sort of nicking all my slides here, so it's good in a way. But experience and how do you make your customer feel? That's what's important to me. For me, the smart factory is an output. It's the output of or the input of what we need to control. But we need to go a step back, and how do we make our customers feel? Why do they do business with a Proco? Why do they do, Precision Proco now? Why do they do business with an Elanders? Why do they do business with these big guys? Why? And often there's some value, there's some interest, there's some software, there's some technology. They're helping them in some way. And that can't just be about price. Because what happens if it's just about price?
You will basically outcompete yourself.
Well,
right?
we've seen it, haven't we? We're seeing it now.
It's funny because yesterday I was in a session, and Jacob Hiddedam Hommel, who used to be for Heidelberg, he joined the session and said that maybe everything that really relates to the smart factory should be under the hood of the engines, like kind of thing. So in maybe in 2 years, 3 years, 5 years time, we will not even have sessions like this, because it is as normal as a mouse, as a Wi-Fi hotspot, or as a mobile phone kind of things, because all these things are just something that we take for granted, right?
No, I disagree. I think that I remember working for EFI, and I was out in Italy, and I think it was God, I can't remember, and I'll get shot by the organ. I think it was SIP4 or something like that. That was representation of the JDF interportability standards and whatever gumph that was supporting that, and that was. God, I'm only 21. I think I was in that meeting at in my baby clothes. But no, we were talking then of JDF. We were talking then of integration. God, that was 20 years ago. How the hell can we integrate systems now? And I think the problem is we never, as well as losing sight of our customers, we're losing sight of sometimes why we integrate and where integration is important, because we can, without JDF, without APIs, we can still integrate systems. And I think now is an important time, and we're definitely seeing a lot more about why are we integrating? Not let's integrate. Why do you want to integrate? And I've got a customer at the moment, and he goes, "Well, I've got to integrate my my accounts package." I'm like, "Brilliant!" But wait, there, we put the information into your MIS system. So which one are we going to go, MIS and accounts, or are we going to push? And it's a bit more sort of cohesive thinking about, well, actually, set out your store. How do you want to deal with your customers? Set your sales funnel up. What is your interaction on your business? Why does your business processes need to interact and stuff like that? And we had a guy that worked for us a little, and you probably know him, Tony, who's a Duplo, and he's at HP now. And he always said about being a challenger brand is about challenging your customers to think beyond what they come to you for, because often what they come to you for is not the solution that they want. So I think as things evolve, and to answer your sort of question directly, I think until the technology exists today, probably as much as it exists, it's freer and easier now. But unless as a business we're clear on what we want, and we spend more time investing in that and understanding the value, and I think that's a calling out to some of the MDs and CFOs of these print businesses and saying, look at technology as not an expense, but look at it as an investment to drive the business forward.
Like you buy a machine, like you buy people, basically, right?
100%. And it's always the afterthought. And I think until it becomes the fore part of that, then it's always going to be an interesting thing. But I think with the rate of, I think things will become easier, so it will be a lot more sort of plug and play. But I think I don't think it'll ever be out of the box. And obviously Heidelberg are working on something at the moment, aren't they, to try on Associated Business, Zychio, to be a little bit more independent. And I love the absolute idea of that, but I think that will it get the buy-in from the actual people that need to use it, not the vendors. I think the vendors will be bought in.
That is a good question, and we are trying to set up a session about this on Friday, but we have not got it 100% confirmed. So let's see. But just before now, it's your time to. Are you going to share screen?
You've covered all my slides. I got nothing more to say. No.
I just want to share one link here, and that is basically for everybody who didn't see your participation in our Learn With Us session at the last time, because that was a little bit, some of the things we talked about right now is also part of your conversation, and I think it was really a great presentation you did, and I appreciate your continuous support of INKISH, so that is great. So are you going to share your screen now? And
I'll share my screen, and I have literally just covered all my topics, but I'll do it in a little bit more. I'll put a Scottish accent on or something. And
do that. And if you want to do it in French, if you want to do it in French, we also have a French.
People don't like me. I was thrown out of a French meeting once for not speaking French.
I will turn off the microphone and the camera from my side, and then I will be listening, and then we can take a Q&A afterwards. So, and guys watching this episode, if anybody has questions to Douglas, feel free to push them in the chat, and then we can take them after Douglas's presentation. So take it away, Douglas.
Thank you. All right. Let's see if we can master the screen share. Let me know we're good. Excellent. So yeah, great chat with Morten, and I've got to say, Morten and the gang, they've got, and a lot of the guys in the event industry, got a tough job at the moment. So it's important that as vendors that we've got to try and keep alive and keep supporting these guys. So well done to Morten and all the team for working on this excellent work, because it is hard work. Anybody that's run these events. So let's have a look. So web to print and the smart factory, where does it fit, and why is it relevant to what we're talking about today? I've covered this part, guys. Most of you know us, but really our business is all about delivering solutions within print, e-commerce, and an absolute across a wide range of industries. Anywhere from your property businesses, real estate businesses, labels, web to pack, web to print. We cover a wide variety, and we're not a one size fits all shop. We really normally get involved in the weird and wonderful projects. There's lots of great products out there that if you want to buy off the shelf and integrate it within, plug it in within a few seconds and be a very closed thing. I think if you want something different, we're the absolute business firm for you guys. So the smart factory, print 4.0, where do we fit within that, and how does it affect what we do? And I'd like to just cover some of that. But before that, I think what's really important is I've got to talk about, and some of the things that Morten and I touched on. Experience comes above everything else. We can't forget about the customer. What's important that we have any transaction with our customer, and this is a piece of advice and thoughts that I got off a chap a few months ago, is how do we make our customers feel? And in a world of NPS and Trustpilot and all these things, how do we make our customers feel? And that has got to be the basis of why we're implementing technology, why we're implementing print 4.0, the smart factory and things like that. Not just to be geeky and provide efficiency. We've got to make sure that we're holding our customers and we make them feel important. And as I mentioned earlier on, if we excite the customer's mind, and they will spend money with us, we'll keep them sticky. They will stick with us for a lifetime through thick and thin. And as we go through a point where customers will be dropping in and out, the stickier that we've made our solutions, and that I push that out to our customers, then the longer the life of the relationship that they will have. And I think that's really, really important. This is taken from a slide that I delivered 3 years ago. And it's funny how everybody says that things are moving so fast and things like that, but we really are. We're in a point where the knowledge of our customers is less. The requirements of our customers are higher. They want 24/7. Everything has to be now, fast and efficient. And they don't expect to maybe pay over the odds for that. So we've got to be looking at how we can use technology to compete with the offerings that they're getting, whether it be a Just Eat or an Uber or an Airbnb. They've got these apps. The information is just free flowing. It's so integrated and so quick that we have to make sure that our factories and things like that are smart, are clever. We are evolving. And so what does that mean? Well, I sort of just brain dumped this morning, thinking about it, and last night. Consumers, small quantities, quicker turnarounds, no room for errors, instant feedback to customers through web, email, and mobile. No delay in waiting for somebody to get back to them with quotes. I was with a customer a few years back, and I've got 9 estimators, account managers that are providing quotes. Well, customers don't want that anymore. They want to jump on a website. They want to get a real-time quote. They want to know that that quote can be converted into an order, and they want to push it through the system. They don't always want templated items. They want to be able to upload a job. They want to know if there's any problems with it. If I give you a file, I don't want to hear that a day later that it's gone into your workflow and now there's a problem with it. I want to know now. Here's my job. Is it okay? Can I have it? How much is it going to cost? When's it going to be delivered? And by the way, can I have it printed today and can I have it delivered tomorrow? That's what customers want to know. reprints, changes, adjustments. Customers they need fluid response and interaction. And as we go through this manic amazement of bloody COVID-19 and all the things that we're going through and the challenges we are set ourselves, content is going to change quickly. So what does that mean? Well, the runs are going to be smaller, but they're going to change quicker. So we have to provide that information in a better way that customers can react quicker, create better tools, and really react in a time that we never thought was possible. And customers want to visually see that. They want to see a proof, but they don't want to wait for a printed proof. They want to see a 3D visualization of how their packaging is going to look. It's really important. Customers are visually excited when they see things. So we need to make sure that that happens through the process. And it's about, for me, it's about setting up your sales funnel. So Morten was touching on, well, where does web to print fit in? And it is really this customer input. And web to print can be the web shop, it can be the XML, it can be the API inputs, or it can be a part of that. But what you have to do as a print owner, as part of your print factory, is be very clear on how you, as a business, interact with your customer and what your inputs to your customer look like. So rather than try and build a new solution every time for a new customer, you say, right, these are my 4 ways of interacting with me as a business. Very flexible. You can deal with give us an API feed. You want a storefront, we can give you a storefront. Need to be able to interact and pull some data in, boom. And then we push that down. How does that go into estimating? How does that go into reporting? Right the way to production management, print, scheduling, pick and pack, shop floor data collection, fulfillment, and then right the way down to what makes the business tick, from invoices, customer management, and we need to rinse and repeat that. But I think in this important thing, we need to think as the smart factory is an entirety and not as sort of very isolated components. Or I just want to integrate web to print today. Well, let's take a step back. What does create a workflow diagram? What does my workflow look like? And how does that really impact my business? What are the key interactions? What do I need? Let's not just create an API link because there is an API link. Should I integrate my web to print system with my accounting package? Or do we let the guys like PrintIQ, Tharstons, those guys who've got great interfaces, pull that in? And I think it's important where we start and stop. And there's no point in web to print and the interface is trying to be one size fits all. We need to think, right, what is our job within that journey? So create a diagram, build up your workflow, and start to look at the interactions within your business. It's so important. So where does web to print come in? And four simple things. I've had discussions over the last few years or many years about, well, if I use web to print, it's going to devalue what my customer offers. It's rubbish, utter rubbish. What a load of crap. Web to print takes the stress out of the order process, which allows you to spend more times with your customers, adding value, finding out what's important to them. If you are messing around, finding out where their order is and on the phone to them, you are not selling to them. You're not helping them. You're not adding value. Use a web to print, use a storefront solution to give them that interactivity, that ease of use. Make sure the interface is spot on. We come across it time and time again, and probably during the last 5-6 months of lockdown, we're replacing as many solutions as we're adding. Do you know why? Because there are so many web to print storefronts out there that look rubbish, are functional, and don't provide a user experience. And if they're hard to use, people won't use them. Provide a decent toolbox of solutions so your customers can launch new products, they can launch new websites as quick as possible. They need to be able to engage through our customers through the printing materials in the quickest way form. So how quick is it to get a storefront up, get some templates up? And definitely for a business like Infigo, we are absolutely on the case of R&D all the time on how can we make our systems quicker, faster, and easier for our customers to build and create storefronts. And ultimately, web to print is a gateway. It's not the be all and end all. It's not everything. It's a gateway into your smart factory. But as I say, you've got to look at it as an entirety, as a workflow, not just component parts. Draw it out, hash it out, speak to our guys, speak to your vendors, and get them to fill in some of the missing pieces. I'm more than happy to sit with a customer and map out a workflow free of charge, help them with their ideas, and give them some thoughts on actually what are the different component parts of making their things. And I think these are the 4 things that really drive out web to print. Take the stress out of the ordering process, provide a great user experience, provide the tools that your customers need to be able to procure, order, and manage print online, and provide a gateway that is open 24/7, just like they can order an Uber, just like they can go on Airbnb, and so on and so forth. And that really is my thing. And I'm a print. You cut me in half. I'll be a print guy until the end. I love what print represents, and this is a great quote. Print links the presence with forever and the future. And I think that is so important. So they're just some of the key things that maybe takes away from technology, but thinking about the customer and then looking at technology on why it empowers the customer. And that's really my thoughts for today there, Morten.
Appreciate it a lot. What I like, maybe switch off the screen sharing. Yeah. What I like when I see and listen to your presenting is your passion for what you're talking about. Is passion also what drives you as a company forward in I mean, it maybe sound a little bit strange, but I was thinking of it like, I know for myself, for example, that what drives me a lot with passion in INKISH is basically that I would like everything to move forward. I want to have more viewers. I want to have a higher revenue. I want to be profitable at some point. I want to influence the world. I think that Steve Jobs said it in that one of the biographies that was published after his death, that he wanted to make a little shake in the universe. Maybe you and I are not as bold as that, but maybe a little shake in the printing universe, right?
Oh, absolutely. We want to solve problems. That's what we are here. We're not interested, and I push it back to my guy, even down to the marketing messages that we're putting out. I say to the marketing team, what we're putting out, is it adding value or information to our customers? We've invested in a writer outside of the business to help us get real information, not BS that I want to say or my team. Actually, what's going on in the industry, how we interact. And we're working with the likes of Tharson's, Print IQ. How do these systems interact? Because I could write a post about MIS, but I provide web to print. So I think the passion in the business, and it does run through absolutely all the way to our support guys in the US and the guys in Moldova that, God, we haven't seen them like face to face for a long time, 7, 8 months. So these guys, they live and breathe. The testers want to make sure that we don't deliver bugs. The developers want to make sure that they're creating cool features. Greg and his team, from a service delivery point of view, want to make sure the customers can get onboarded quickly so they can get on with the job. So I think, to answer your question, bang on 100%.
Well, I can't help, one of the things I just paid attention to when I was listening to your presentation was, like, you also said that customers, they want the fault-free deliveries, they want instant coding and things like that. One of the things that I have particular interest in, and I am actually participating in another UK online event by that's the Fraser and Marcus next virtual print summit. I'm going to have a session about pricing. I'm not so interested whether it's high pricing or low pricing. I am more interested in how the pricing mantras are changing a little bit from from being as I also mentioned in my previous session, is it full cost models? Is it click-based models? I mean, there's so many different models, and how if customers demand to have an instant quote, the systems, for example, in the web to print solution requires a way more precise way of understanding the entire
100%. We are never going to write an estimation engine, because I could name 20. I'll name 5 MIS systems.
Okay, you're trying to exaggerate here a little bit, right?
So 100%, the technical difficulty, and why doesn't more web to print providers have integration to do live pricing? Because it's hard. It's hard because we're a web to print solution. We're not an estimation. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to bring technology with inside a smart factory, and we're trying to provide it one step closer to the customer. Not everything, because
sorry to interrupt you, but so basically, so the work of the of the web to print solution in this incident is to actually make sure that what people input in the storefront, to convert that into something where the MIS system is capable of doing an accurate quote. That is the challenge for you guys.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, because if you and the setup and manage of that, like any system that we've got a number of systems with Fastens, and one of the great thing about their business is the flexibility of like how many options they can have. So how do you match with a consumer that probably isn't a print buyer, that probably hasn't got printing experience? Can I have that fallback 1? What does that mean? So you've got to create the integration tooling. You've then got to create a slick user interface that means something to the user, and then you've got to make sure that the customer can't order gobbledygook, because there's no point in speeding up that process to create more problems down the line.
And in let's say that you have the best storefront. I assume you have, but let's just play that game for a second.
Said even Tina Turner agreed.
So now we have that established. I was just wondering, how much influence does it influence your customer's experience? Because if you are relying on the integration part to a third-party MIS system, for example, I mean, if that is not instant, or if it's not correct, or if it's not done rightly, it could influence also the recognition of your engine, right?
Yeah, well, 100%. We're creating, most MIS systems are not being designed to provide a quote in 2 milliseconds. Most of them are quite happy there. They'll be part of the day. Let's create a quote. I'll have a sandwich.
Let's send it in 24 hours.
Let's send it in 24 hours. So you're taking technology that wasn't necessarily the databases, the internet, like the internal technical structures weren't designed. And we're now providing an interface, and they're probably designed to maybe run off 300 quotes a day or 2. We could be now, if you look at that of doing live pricing with a B2C storefront, I could be having 1,000 orders, 1,000 quotes, 2,000, 10,000 quotes in an afternoon. So how do you dispose of those quotes and things in the MIS system? So there is, and then, as you say, what happens if the price change? How do we sync that? We do some very technical things to allow us to process the quotes quicker, and so that we can provide, because we know if we don't serve a web page up in under 2 or 3 seconds or less, or whatever the numbers are these days, customers will move on. So we need to guide and help the the technical structure for the MIS systems to be able to deliver that.
As I also mentioned, I spoke to Kayleen Lloyd yesterday from South Africa, and one of the questions that I asked her was like, it's not as easy as somebody tells you, right? And I think that what you tell me right now is also that kind of, because I mean, the purpose of these sessions is also to give printers an idea about how to move on with things.
Yeah.
Because because if you end up having a solution where you have, let's say, you on one side you have the hardware vendors, that's one thing, but they rely on software, and then you have the middleware, basically, that where the machine depends on it, and then you have all the customer-centric kind of approaches to things. How do you think a printer can move on to make sure that you pick the right solutions and the right vendors to make sure that you get end-to-end solutions that actually serve your business objectives?
Well, I think that comes across two ways. You got to look to see. One of the interesting things for us as a business is there's not been a huge amount of evolution in web to print. Like we've been pushing the boundaries and continually. So you've got to see what people, how are people investing in the business? What's their R&D structure look like? And it's something probably nobody, like where are you investing? You're interested in their speeds and the feeds, what they're developing, how they're growing in the business. Are they stable? Can they grow and things like that? So I think it's an interesting question. What's your R&D budget? What are you spending? How are you solving problems? What are you looking at? And I look at my roadmap now, and I tell you what, it's something my guys say to me, Doug, you're all over the bloody place, all over. And I said, right, what we're going to do is going to create a plan for the next 6 to 9 months, depending on the way the world is, and this is what I'm going to commit to. You've got to give me times and deadlines, and this is what I'm going to commit to doing. And all of that roadmap, there's some really cool stuff on there, but it's about helping our customers get the solution set up quicker. It's about getting better information to their customers quicker. And it's about integrating with our vendors that we work with better. So that although are we going to create a new moon on a stick? Probably not this year, but we're going to create a solution.
You're working in that direction anyway, right?
Yeah, but it's easier to integrate, easier to set up, and easier to work with these multiple vendors. And that's a bold move at the moment, to be investing hundreds of thousands of pounds in that thing at this stage, where we could just sit low and say, well, we've got a good product. We're not about setting our laurels. We are here to continually invest in that. So I think that's the important thing that people need to look, whether it's a web to print, or I was speaking with the guys at HP SiteFlow, and I know Chris and the guys really well when they've moved that on, how that's evolved, and that's exciting. Like how that was just this workflow solution that had a queue and you could submit jobs. Now it's like taking millions of orders a day. And so to answer another ways, like, is it an MIS solution? Is it a workflow solution? Is it a web to print? We're all sort of starting to cross a few boundaries here. So I think it's going back to trying to work out what you need as a business. And I think that's important as well.
Really great information, Doctor. So I appreciate your time. Just before we leave now, because we have a French breakout session.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got to go. I've got to go to the gym now as well. It's time to keep the mind fit and the body fit as well.
Yeah. Should we just see if there's any questions? Just want to check the chat here. Do any of you guys have any questions in relation to what Doctors just spoke about? Or, yeah, well, I don't think there's any. They think you are a Uberizing print. That is Jacques from INKISH Benelux. I believe that's a great term. So let's use that in the future. That's great.
Yeah.
So
maybe that's a quick check on the copyright. But
yeah, I think that's what Andreas is referring to. But that is cool. Once again, thank you very much for your time.
Absolute pleasure.
Your continued support. It's always good to talk to you. So thank you very much. And for the people attending right now, if any should be interested in our French breakout session that is talking about the fundamentals of the smart factory in French with Jacques and Yves, I have posted the link here, so you should be able to dig into that directly if you like to. So again, once more, thank you very much, and I hope to see you in real person at some point.
Yeah, definitely.
So great seeing you, and please say hi to your team and keep up the good work. Thank you.
Yeah,
very much.
and you, buddy. I know it's tough, so keep pushing forward. Well done.
We will. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, everybody. Great to have a chat with you.
Bye.